landing at the start and finish line. It's being really squirrely in these lightweight aircraft in these sort of conditions. In the number 1 lane, we got Austin Clemens in the stock Husky A1C aircraft, and Colin Kneva in the number 2 aircraft from Nebraska. Look at that headwind. Look at that full stall landing. He hardly even needs to use the reversible pitch prop on that yellow airplane with that good headwind. And Austin gets turned around first at the turnaround. Getting a good lead on Colin. He can't get you. Possible. Pull the flaps on speed over the line. Boom! They are down. Brake, brake, brake without that tailwind and lifting that tail and a full stop. Boy, that was too close to call. Big off and he got by here. Clear chassis, Colin, follow off. Very closely matched. Tony Sanchez in the number 2 lane in the Just aircraft. Super STOL with the tall, lanky suspension on it. This is the brothers, Eddie Sanchez in the number 1 lane. So the 2 brothers, Eddie and Tony Sanchez, from out of Texas, both airline pilots, come out here to race each other on the weekends. Johnny and Jared, Johnny and Jared. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Clear up the course, clear down the course, on the arm drop, 3, 2, 1, see ya! Daddy's going way back on the power. He's got that Yamaha Sidewinder engine just loafing along. Wait, that ain't Eddie, that's Dave Curley in the stock Highlander. Well, that's a close race. Tony gets turned around first in the number 2 lane, followed by Dave Curley in the number 1 lane. So this is a Super STOL versus a Highlander, both the same aircraft manufacturer, Just aircraft. Now, a lot of these aircraft feature highly modified landing gear and suspension. One of the greatest advances in backcountry aviation is this advancement in landing gear suspension systems. Finally, after years of bouncing with no rebound control in bungee cords tied to systems or sprung steel systems, we finally developed proper suspension, proper rebound control for backcountry flying, so you can smack these aircraft down on the rocks and they won't bounce back up to the moon. They will stay where you put them. So if you come on down to the STOL Corral at the far right, stage right side of the event here, you can come and take a look at these aircraft, meet the pilots, and look at all this new technology that they're putting into these aircraft. Looks like Patrick McIntyre in the number 1 lane, our newest STOL drag pilot, the Ram S7, very light aircraft. And Brian Steck in the number 2 lane, the Legend Cut. Speed up and cut. nice little lap he's trying to get for another 91 days. Brian still in number 2 lane. Getting stopped second. Bouncing takes time. Time and distance from your turnaround. So he may not pitch the Reds at 7. Let's see if he can catch him with all that nitrous thrown in there. Reds at 7 is about to touch it down right there on over the line. Who gets stopped first? Wins the heat. And Reds is stopped.
Patrick, good run. Brian, follow. Patrick, that was a scratch for me.
Scratch lane 2. Got to land on or beyond the line. Here we go. The main gear.
They're handicapping it right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're handicapping them just to get some closer finishes for the crowd here. So we're taking those best times. We'll get an average amount to determine the over $10,000 for the prize money that we've got to give away from this weekend of STOL Racing here in Columbus.
Can I get in on that?
Well, run what you run. Bring your plane out. We'll get you qualified this evening.
You do not want an RV 7A in this competition.
Well, you're a fast accelerator. You might be surprised.
I'm afraid of what would happen to the brakes.
Course, clear down the course. All the offending cars. On the arm drop. 3, 2, 1. See ya.
Austin Clemens getting the 5 or so second lead on Eddie Sanchez in the number 2 lane. Sidewinder, Yamaha, snowmobile powered, just aircraft Highlander. Austin is down and stopped. Just does a great job. 21 years old. Does a great job flying that Avion Husky. Spun around already, heading back now. He's got to catch him.
Tail, boy. 9 and 9, 10 on the tail for this job.
Right at our tailwind limit for the return. Oh yeah, Austin's holding him off, man. He's holding him off. The bangs are out. Let's see if he pops that in reverse. Boom. Watch that reverse. It's that tailwind, and oh yeah! I think Eddie got it.
Nice flying, boys. Eddie got it by about a second. Austin's tail floated a little bit. Clear taxi. Eddie follow Austin.
Got to come to a full stop with a tail wheel on the ground. So the main's got to be on or beyond the line. I don't care about the tail wheel on the line, but when it comes to the full stop, we want to see all that energy out of the airplane. And they'll sit there with the tail up for some time, holding them brakes before the tail finally settles down and drops down. Nebraska, the number 1 lane, and the Legend Cub, the green Legend Cub. Remember, the number 1 lane is the lane that's closest to us. The number 2 lane, the lane farthest from us.
What are these planes made of?
Tube and fabric, for the most part. Usually 4130 chrome moly. Welded fuselage is covered by either Seconite or Vortex, a new lightweight style fabric. So if you that you glue on and heat shrink, and the fabric is getting stronger and lighter in material science technology, and very generally preferred over sheet metal for most bush planes because you can bounce rocks and sticks and twigs off of it, and if you damage it, it's easier to repair. You patch it, you just patch it instead of having to replace the whole horizontal stabilizer on a metal aircraft. And generally, it's lighter construction. Do the big tires make a difference in the performance? Do the big tires make a difference Oh yeah, man, they really slow you down. There's a quick wind gust for you. The big tires are kind of a detriment out here for STOL drag racing. You really want to take the big tires off and go run in the hangar and find the cheapest pair of worn out old 606s or 808s and throw them on there real quick and just burn them up by locking up the brakes, or you're braking pretty hard, not to flip the aircraft over, but you're really burning up the rubber out there. So the smaller tires gives you more braking capability, leverage on the brakes, and less aerodynamic drag. Out in the bush, the big tires are the main part of your suspension, especially rolling over the big rocks.
All right, thanks. Driver, you ready? Package, you ready? The course. Clear down the course. On the on drop. 3, 2, 1.
20 Sanchez, number 2, just get left to STOL. Francis 7 is the number 1 down the left. STOL Racing Island. Working with these winds that are right up to our wind limits of a 10 knot tailwind and a 15 knot crosswind. Both aircraft very closely matched, flaps on speed, hopping it over the line. Bam! Dump the flaps. As soon as you touch down, retract those flaps. It gets the weight off of the wings and the weight instead onto the wheels for more effective wheel braking. So a lot of these pilots have hair triggers on their flap lever mechanisms that allow them to retract the flaps very quickly.
What you're telling me is it could be a real problem. It could be a real problem. In all seriousness, though, let's talk about tailwinds, because aircraft do better when they're flying into the wind at slow speeds and better controllability landing on airports. But with this tailwind landing downwind, what could happen?
Oh boy. Well, tail draggers are very easy to ground loop because you got the center of gravity behind the wheels, and that center of gravity is always trying to get out in front of the wheels. So that tailwind can easily weather bait the aircraft around into the wind. Another problem is competition type of flying. You're honking on them brakes, and if you honk on them brakes too hard, that tail gets picked up too far, and the tail wind picks up the tail even a little further. It's very easy to tip it right up onto the propeller, or worse yet, flip the aircraft completely over.
And the brakes in these things, that people may not know who aren't aviation people, they've got, each wheel has its own, on the rudder pedals, has its own brake, separate brake.
Correct. And they're typically
Cleared up the course. Clear down the course. On the on drop. 3, 2, 1.
so it's typically differential on the top of the rudder, so that gives you good differential braking with the toe brakes. Some of the older tail draggers have heel brakes, which is a little more clumsier to work with. Wow, just about identical. Stop. Legend Cup gets turned around first. Oh, so you're going to have to catch up to him now. He's going to pour the diapers to it. Get you out of the hole shot. Wind her up. Those cockpits breaking the speed of sound, making us all bluff our ears up here. Wrapping her out. Boom, Legend Cup is down. But Austin stops. You see how quick Austin retracted those flaps? Just instantly touchdown, retracts those flaps, gets that weight on the wheels, off the wings and onto the wheels. So we'll come out, we'll bring new pilots out, train them up on STOL drag racing if they're interested in coming out and racing. And we'll run any kind of airplane in STOL drag racing. We don't have any rules as far as categories, classes, weights, or type of aircraft. You can run what you brought because this 2,000-foot strip kind of is a great equalizer of all these different aircraft. So one of the first things, go ahead, Rob.
I was going to ask about a Robinson R-44 helicopter.
Well, it was decided you got to be a fixed wing.
come press the test and see. Best of thought.
Right now. Simon, you ready? Colin, are you ready? Kenny, are you ready? Clear it up the course. Clear it down the course. On your drop. 3, 2.
Just swap the battery out real quick in between heats. Keep going and imagine the torque and the speed of an electric motor in this sort of competition. And then imagine that, what if you had 2 electric motors, a twin engine design that could help you at the turnaround spin that aircraft around even with differential thrust. Now you get your mind really thinking late at night.
Boy, there's some fast. There's a big lead on that.
Tony Sanchez is number 1 lane, winding that Yamaha Sidewinder up.
And the Legend Cub in the number 1 lane. Scratch. Lane 1 at the turnaround. Landed short of the line. I thought I saw that. See a little puff of white flower dust coming off there. That's the line. Most of these engines had a horsepower.
Well, we got Rotax engines running just a little over 100 horsepower. A Titan 340 is pulling 100, maybe 200 horsepower. And then these amazing snowmobile and watercraft engines, like a Sea-Doo, yeah. The Yamaha Sidewinder snowmobile specifically, 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, putting out 300 horsepower. And then you can tune that thing up. They want to add bigger fuel rails or turbocharging. That's when they can get in excess of 300 horsepower out of these engines. So they're infinitely tunable and they're relatively inexpensive. Just go down to the snowmobile dealer or watercraft dealer and get you a new one.
Does it make most of its difference in the acceleration off the start or along the course?
And the acceleration off the start. And the ability, if it's light enough, like the Steve Henry aircraft is changing out right now, you can accelerate up to over 110, 120 miles an hour in the first 1,000 feet. That's a big sight. You can see some crazy fences and additional drag devices that are deployed to slow these aircraft down. Stick your hand out. Open the doors is what I used to do on the Luscombe. Because the brakes before. The Luscombe, now that's a wonderful great trailer. Both aircraft getting turned around at the same time, and Dave Curley and the number 2 lane with the green Just Aircraft Highlander, Patrick McIntyre.
They're not getting any of the tires about 5 feet off the ground.
Right, so we like to see them about that high off the ground, not much lower than that, so we make sure that they don't dig in when they're side slipping, and much higher than that kind of defeats the whole purpose too. So you really use the ground effects to help you accelerate out of this course. And we've monkeyed with the idea, what if you balloon way up and get out of that ground effect when it's time to slow down? Does that help you? And it just kind of throws you off the game. So most folks stay at that same altitude as they come sliding into the finish line.
Ground effect is kind of like riding on a cushion of air rather than to generate lift, just because of the air that's being blown up under the wing within about a half a wingspan.
That's right. That's right. Good ground effect will help increase your speed and your lift until you get a little more than 1 wingspan above the ground.
She asked me if I wanted the bottle or what they made. It's a big container. I said I wanted the
Clemens, Austin Clemens, the number 1 lane with the Aviar Husky.
They had bottles.
And it looks like Tony Sanchez, the number 2 lane.
It tastes like a sweet
STOL.
I like it.
Like, it tastes like a better.
I think it tastes good.
Clear down the course. On your drop. 3, 2, 1.
compass and also drops his bar as a visual cue, and the timer's a visual cue as to when to start the clocks. One, in spite of the age of these airplanes and the materials, the basic design of these airplanes, high wing, monoplanes like this, go back to the 40s, right? It's a traditional, proven, stable design. The big changes that we're seeing is in material science, getting lighter materials, especially covering materials, and some of the carbon fiber that you can use to fare your aircraft or cowl your aircraft with. We can continue to build these aircraft lighter and stronger. And that's why I encourage everybody to come down to the STOL Corral. Look at backing that thing up. Come down to the STOL Corral and check out these aircraft and see some of the great experimental designs that they're doing to extract performance out of these aircraft. Most of these aircraft are kit-built experimental aircraft. Or you can go down and buy a carbon cub, brand new, and that in stock form is a very competitive STOL drag aircraft. And it's got the lightweight, the performance, and the speed to do this kind of flying. Very competitive. How fast do they go typically if they're going cruising, something like that? You're lucky to get 100 miles an hour out of them. Maybe 90 miles an hour, maybe 110, but they're not too fast. Like I said yesterday, you're watching those semis with a little bit of a hand. It's kind of discouraging when you start getting passed by the trucks. Oh man, when I was a student pilot, I was a Cessna 150.
I'm not running that. So it'd be a fair, it'd be a decent run right now. Okay, we need let's go heads up. Alright, we're going equal, no practice. Timers, you ready? You ready? Straight up the course, straight down the course. On the arm drop. 3, 2, 1.
Right, it's taking like one lane, right? No nitrous cross. That's still pretty loud, man. I don't know. I don't think he's run out of nitrous just yet. Two Legend Cubs, similar, almost the same aircraft design. Now it's just down to the pilots. That's nothing to consider. Whatever. All right, number one lane gets turned around first. Right stick. And Colin Kanema. Colin could never get a break. The boys are still wiping those hips up pretty good. One of the other things we considered is what if we had two identical type aircraft and just switch the pilots in and out? Oh my! And really put it down to the differences in the pilots instead of the differences of the aircraft.
For the day, STOL Drag is done. Thank you for the Columbus Air Show on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
That's STOL Drag Racing, folks. Thanks so much for coming out to watch this. My name is Juan Brown from the Blanco Lirio channel. We'll see you here. Hey, before you go, the Blanco Lirio channel. Forgive me, Juan, but until you said that this morning, I missed it yesterday. I've seen you. You got a great YouTube channel. Thank you for what you do. Well, thanks for watching. You bet. Juan Brown and the STOL Drag Race competition. Tomorrow, big prizes being given out. $10,000. We'll see you here. Great. Sounds perfect to me. We got more to come coming up in just a minute. We're gonna, oh man, Brittany, think of, if you will, just how things were back in the golden days of aviation and wing walking and things like that. How about it?